There we go. Okay, so today we are going to talk about finances and money, abundance, allowing ourselves to be seen and to prosper, and also when the money comes in, knowing how to manage it, how to invest it wisely. For the highest good, and also clearing sabotage, self-sabotage, any like hidden self-sabotage behaviors, or even passions to scarcity. Yeah, and any lineage lack of support of the lineage. So let's see, in constellations, very often money has to do with the great-grandparents, but also with the grandparents, and who knows, like we have seen several times past life traumas as well to trickle in. So it has to do a lot with the self-love as well. So help me to put it together. So I think that we will have the conscious entrepreneur, or just us, like, whoever is present here. Some of us are not just conscious entrepreneurs, some of us have jobs too. So whoever is present today, humans humans that work for money. So I will have us, I will have abundance, I will have the lineage, I will have this like fears, right? So fear of being seen, fear of being heard, fears that have to do with putting ourselves out there, fears of consistently doing what we have to in order to make sales or get a better job and so on. So I will just leave it maybe like general fears, and let's see what kind will show up. Let's see, us, abundance, fears, and then also the confidence, with the confidence to make the right decisions around money. So fears, confidence, abundance. So then those loyalties and like hidden loyalties and self-sabotage. I think it's one. Hidden loyalty, self-sabotage. Also, like, what is, I would like to explore, what is the benefit of struggling financially? Because if it's that common, I believe that there is a hidden benefit, while we often like keep it going on, right? So the hidden benefit of scarcity. Yes, anyone wants to say something? So that's what I have so far. Did I miss something? So fears, lineage, hidden benefits, hidden loyalties, confidence with the financial decisions, and abundance. Okay, let's start. All right, I will mute this one. Okay, so I will change this to the other camera. Oh, I'm sorry. So close to Facebook behind. Okay. All right, so I am ready. And if few of you would like to participate later, stating your intention for this constellation, that would be great. But let me set it up first. Let me choose a color for us, conscious people that still have to work for money. Either in business, some of us have jobs, so that's us. Then I would like the abundance. So we can have abundance being gold. Lineage, I will use brown. If someone can write for me, that would be great. Lineage, brown.
Stella is writing.
Thank you. Fears. Fears around money. Anyone has a color for fear? Maybe gray?
Yes, I was thinking gray.
Gray, this one? Or maybe
dark gray.
Darker, huh? This one? Okay. Fears. Actually, I feel the fears on top here. Okay, fears. And so that's all kind of fears. Fear of visibility, fear of abundance, fear of not making the right decisions. Okay, now confidence, like being confident with money decisions and you know, doing what we are supposed to do. If we have a business, that means consistently putting the work out that also brings in money, not avoiding those actions. Because we often like to keep ourselves busy with things that don't necessarily bring in abundance. And then if it's work, you know, speaking up, taking responsibility, also visibility, all that. So the consistent actions, actually I see it here. The confidence and abundance are connected here. And then the self-sabotage that you were talking about and hidden loyalties to scarcity.
Are they now becoming one thing? You were talking about hidden benefits of scarcity, and
I think there are two things. There is hidden loyalty to it, but there is also hidden benefit in it.
Yes, sure, good.
Right? So I think there's the loyalty, hidden loyalty to scarcity, somewhere here, and hidden benefit of scarcity.
The loyalties, is that light gray?
Yeah, it's like what is this, like beige?
It's not white, right?
Yeah, it's off-white.
Okay.
Or yeah, beige. And then there's this green, is the benefit, the hidden benefit in scarcity. It's kind of interesting how they are like two today. That's strange. There's the lineage. Okay. So again, so I have us, I have the fears, I have the hidden loyalty to scarcity, I have the hidden benefits, of scarcity, I have the confidence at doing the right actions that will bring abundance.
Please mute whoever you are.
I have the abundance. Let me check. Okay. Oh, hi, Ostara is here. How cool. Okay. And then I have our lineage. I almost feel like there's something missing here. Oh, the self-love, the lovability and self-love. Remember that? Let's add it here. And that's red. Okay, I am ready. Anyone would like to state an intention? My intention here is to explore what's holding us from allowing abundance, and to remove everything that's in the way of us allowing it.
Okay, this is Stella. My intention is to clear the hidden benefits of scarcity and the hidden loyalties.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Anyone else would like to add something? Or ready to go? Okay, we can go then. It really strikes me, even this one now wants to be here. So there's like this duality going on, like choose. This is like very new. It has never been this way. So let me start. So I'm stepping first on the lineage, on our ancestry. Somehow it's aligning more with the fathers, while this one is aligning more with the mother's lineage, so standing on the left side behind us. And so that's our self-love, lovability, feeling worthy. So I put this behind, the lineage in the supportive position, but somehow it doesn't want to stay there. So it's going, it's turning away and stepping out. Don't know what that means yet. I am looking, okay, I do know. So I'm looking at the ancestry. There's like a lot of people behind us, a lot of ancestors. So it's like we are on the top of the pyramid, right? And it just branches out. Okay, so I'm acknowledging them and thank them for being here with us today and showing up to assist us. So thank you. So this one wants to step on top of us, and when that happens, the fears The fears are moving here. So this was the self-love. I think that the connection with, like, okay, how is it coming from our mothers is like this ability of mother to be fully there for a baby and love it and allow it closely and protect it and cherish it, enjoy it, being proud of it, being blissful with this like beautiful little being. It even like smells good. It's yummy. Its skin is so soft and is so innocent and pure. So that's what the self-love wants to communicate here. That's how self-love looks like as well. So it's something that we have to give ourselves as well. And now that I'm doing that I honor myself, I honor this innocence in me, this purity and this beautiful self-love connection. I'm now looking at these three here. So I'm putting them out here. There's a tinge of sadness. So when I look at the fear and I put it, for some reason, it wants to go underneath. When the fear goes underneath, it actually is connecting me with the lineage. So it makes me go here and witness and I feel like crying now. So I started crying. The feeling is about seeing all these ancestors, and each one of them died, obviously, and they each went through a different struggle, but definitely they all went through some kind of struggle. But somehow I'm turned now only like this one direction, and what's coming to me right now is that somebody drowned. I don't know if it is one of you guys' personal connection. I see right now, anyone?
Yep, Rita.
Someone who drowned?
Yeah, my mom's dad drowned.
Yeah. So
I have drowning too.
Oh, okay. Wow, interesting, because it's like, I was like, huh, we were speaking about everyone, and like, but it's something about people who drowned, a person who drowned. So I will bring them out and see what they need. Oh, it makes me even more sad now. Okay, let me bring them out. Someone that drowned. Somehow it's so connected, also like drowning in bills and drowning
Drowning in debt.
in debt, exactly. But this like looks like drowning in the water, in a river. Fighting for their life. And not making it. So I will acknowledge like everyone who had to drown. I want to acknowledge them for trying to fight, to survive, for giving their best. And definitely thanks to them, because before that happened, they gave us life. We thank them for life. Despite them having to lose theirs in such a dramatic and extreme way. I definitely identify with them somehow. So because of you, I often feel like I'm drowning in debt, or drowning in bills and responsibilities and actions that I have to take, like countless things that I have to do. And I don't allow myself to succeed or get out of that. Because if I did, it would be like letting you down, or it would be like dishonoring the sacrifice that you had to pay for me being alive. I take this because we are identifying with that. There is also, also this goes here. So by loving you, I'm loving myself. And it's also somehow, I feel like they have shown me the way. It's like this agony, this fear of the unknown, like letting go of control and surrendering to the drowning process. It's so part of me. It's so part of my DNA and who I am. It really feels like this must have happened a lot in the ancestry. It's so interesting. I didn't know that this would be so important. I'm looking now at the lineage from this position, and I'm telling them, okay, for all the people who drowned in our ancestry, I acknowledge you. I know exactly how it feels. I know the fear of letting go and just trying to survive, kicking in one spot, not being able to move out of the river that I'm drowning in. Oh, you know why this is also important or significant? Because if I'm speaking of the river that is coming from the ancestry, I think it's also symbolic here. I'm looking at the river like life that has a direction like a river. It flows to us from the ancestry, and we are part of everything that they lived through, but now also we are adding our experiences, but it's the same river of life and has the same direction. Eventually, at some point of that river, we are going to pass away. We will have to let go of kicking and trying to survive and just either go under or let it carry us out. So actually, the more we are trying to avoid the flow that is coming, the direction, the more we are trying to avoid to let go of control, and it's out of fear of survival, right? And the more we can allow the water to carry us and look the direction where it wants to go, and allow it to carry us up and maybe even out to the safe shores, the more the chance that we shorten the lifespan, that we go under much earlier than we could, right? So if I let it carry me, it will bring me out to the shore. And when it does, then I see the abundance over there. So if I allow it to carry me, I will let go those who died before, who have drowned, struggling, kicking for survival, not being able to allow everything as it is and carry them. So I could, either like be loyal to them and go down here, or I will acknowledge them for their struggle and seeing like, okay, they tried their best. They did their best to survive, to live, to give give it all. And they had to go under here. And so I take some of those experiences, but I'm also willing now to let a new experience in, like, how would it be if I don't go under with a lot of fight, and instead I let myself be supported by the flow. And so then the water carries me out to the shore, trying to figure out where this sphere goes now. I think the fear is here now. Okay, so I'm here on the shore, but still like with some parts of my body in the water and some on the land. and so I have to pull myself up. But I also feel tired and exhausted from the fear and agony I had over there, and from also spending so much energy kicking in one spot. And being resistant to the flow. So I'm here now, and let's see, I want to step on the fear again. The fear wants to go back to the person that has been struggling to survive in the water. However, like what is kind of clear to me, that the fear is only there until we let go and surrender. And the fear is part of the resistance to the flow. The fear is trying to control what is much stronger than us. The fear is also this inability to I had the word. The fear is also this inability to assess the situation and what is the priority in that. Like it's panic, and not being able to allow the one move or the one behavior, one action that would completely change it from struggle to being carried. So the fear is the panic, and when we are in panic, we are not resourceful, and we don't think about that one thing that would change it all, like in an instant.
Klara, where's the connection to the spirit?
I don't know, we didn't set it up.
I know. Wouldn't that carry them out of the water?
It's more about trust and surrender to the movement. I think that the movement behind life, you could call it spirit too. I think it's very similar. It's the direction of life, direction of evolution. It's where we are all moving together, if we like it or we don't. It's the bigger movements behind us. So, I think it's similar. I think it is similar. We are trying to put words behind that, and someone could call it spirit. Someone could call it life. Someone could call it the dynamics, whatever the universe is trying to accomplish, or the forces behind it. So I think it's all similar. Is it okay? Is that fair enough?
Perfect. So it's the forces behind the evolution. Like, what's the bigger game that they may not be aware of?
Yeah, the movement, like where we are going, and it seems like it's coming through the lineage, So, but then there would be like each one of us is the lineage. So it's like it's the energy behind each drop. So each one of us has their lineage. So the river just gets wider and wider. We are moving together, but we are also on each other's side, and we have those who came before us that move with our friends or our brothers, sisters, I mean, like other humans, their lineage is behind them as well, right? So yeah, it's very much here, this whole movement, this river symbolic and the drowning is very much about the symbolism of life and how we are moving forward, and how the forces are going from somewhere towards somewhere. There's some direction, right? And there are those who are not able to let go of control, and it's, you know, it's some people in our lineages, but it's also us. And, you know, at different times we will be in those situations where we kick, you know, and we can almost go under until we let go, or some people are even more graceful and they allow it. They allow life to carry them. They allow universe to carry them, or spirit to carry them, or the ancestry to carry them. It's similar. So it really comes to your own subconscious imagery, and what kind of words do you prefer when you talk about these symbolics and energies. So yeah, okay, so that's happening here. And the fear is really just trying to control it. That's when it shows up, when we are trying to control, resist the flow. There's like this fear of unknown. Also there's panic, there is fear of what can happen now. But despite that, we are being carried if we like it or not. So it's really self-inflicted here, and it's there because we legitimately have ancestry that has drowned. Like, it's kind of interesting, so that many of you were connecting to that, and I connected it as well. So that's what's showing up here. Okay, so let's see now that we acknowledge that, what's going to happen to this here. So the shore also kind of seems temporary. It's like we can stay temporary, but then we go back into the flow. And so when we say temporary on the shore, and it feels like, oh, now we have the ground underneath our feet and some control. Now I can see this, and I can see this. And so this really feels like building some foundation, some stability. Is like work on the shelter, work on like build a kitchen, build a system. Like, how are you going to live here on this land now? What do you want to experience here, right? Because when you are here, there's really, like, you either kick or you let yourself float, but it's too much flow. You don't have much control here, but there's temporary control, seems like, over here. So it almost seems like there's some moments when we are on dry land and we can do actions where from here we also look at what's happening over there. When we are in it, we don't have such a good awareness of what's going on, but from here we can look, so we can see, like, oh, that's where we came from, that's where many of us actually didn't make it, and this is where some of us made it. And so now we have to create something here. We have to create nice environment, nice relationships, a life that is enjoyable, and also comfortable. There's safety, comfort, security, also this like calmness, like peace. So we have time to connect now inside, but also outside. Back there's too much going on, so not much time for introspection and also looking outside and contributing in the way that we want to contribute and how we want to experience, right? So I'm standing here on this one. So this one are the actions, right? The orange was like actions. We have the confidence and knowing what actions to take, right?
Yes,
So,
confidence with money, decisions, actions.
yeah. So, you know, so it really, what's showing up is somehow has to do with understanding just how we build a house, right? We do layer by layer. So there needs to be a foundation, and then we add another layer that is priority, and then another layer, and we are building on that. And just when the raw foundation and the raw construction is done, then we start thinking about decoration and, you know, hanging some hammocks to rest and to enjoy. But before that is really very focused work of putting brick by brick until we get to the level where the foundation is there and the shelter is built. And now we can think about decorating and even like leaving it now, right? Like we don't have to continue building. Now we can leave and we can like it looks like vacation or other experiences. Like we don't have to put so much energy here. But until then, one has to stay at that. Okay. So I have that. Now the abundance. Abundance just feels like everything that the nature gives you, the sun gives you, the environment, the clean air, the nature, the beauty around you, other people, their joy, like celebrating together, interacting with each other, each of us contributing in ways that are best for the whole. Like everyone contributes in a very different way, but together it is bringing like so much joy and so much there's like part is like celebration, like celebrating that we are on this dry land, like not in that fast track, and we can build, but we can be also present with each other. So some of the time here, it's much slower than it's there. Like that's just speeding up. And so what's important, like for the abundance, is to appreciate that time, appreciate that it is slower actually, because we can allow ourselves to be more present with each other. Okay, so now let's see those two. So this was the loyalty to scarcity and the benefits of scarcity. Okay. Oh, I don't know how they connect now. It's almost like they're outside of here now. They're out here. It feels different here. Where it feels like the nature here is abundant, like we are getting the fruits and we are getting everything we need from animals, from plants, from the air, from, I don't know, just from the land itself. And now here, these two just feel like this one feels like a land that has rocks. like rocks, and it even feels like being high up on the mountains, where it's just rocks and they are barren, like there isn't much of abundance, like it is not much that is being provided. The good thing about that is being high up on the mountain and not being there in that abundant, like nature and a lot of people around, being here on these rocks high up on the mountain, and maybe even with less oxygen, there is definitely spiritual connection. Like it forces us not even inward, it forces us up. So while this is like very present, very grounded, being with others, participating, celebrating, there's just a lot of party going on here too. And it's a lot of color. Here it's much less of that, even though like the mountains do have some charm, and there is like there's some very interesting images, but they're coming more to the heart. They are not so much projected outward, and they're not so much like introspective, like looking at our heart. It's more like this is the connection to the spirituality or to the spirit, and whatever we are able to observe. And what I see is like just mountains, and they are very monumental, and that beauty, even though it's not so rich like this here, but it's a different kind of beauty that goes directly into the heart, and connects the heart with the spirit. So that's what happens here when I'm on this one. So it's like a ascetic lifestyle, where even like less water, less oxygen, it all like helps us to go also more into like this trance-like state, and even out of the body. Okay, so that's here. This other one feels like it literally feels like a hot waste. No, what are those? Desert. This feels like a desert, and it's hot. What was this one again? So, the hidden benefit. Hidden benefit. It feels like a hot
Hidden
sand.
loyalties.
Hidden loyalties. So it feels like a hot sand.
And isn't it when you're in a hot sand, you want to jump into the river? Like, isn't that the hidden loyalty?
No, actually, it feels nice in the hot sand. It feels like it warms you up. I don't feel like, I don't feel panicky, like I'm in a desert and, like I need to get out of here. Like I'm in the stage where the hot sand feels comfortable, burning fire. I don't know, but now it's like burning. It's I think it's something about loyalty to destruction, because I see like the hot sand, and but I don't feel the need to get out, and then eventually I feel like I just burn, and the fire like destroys everything, and then the new can come out. So it's like allowing, I don't know, it's like loyalty to destruction, and just to destroy everything so that it destroys where we came from, it destroys like the source, and then eventually on the other side there is like completely new beginning, without any preconceived expectations, without any
Please mute yourself.
like there's like this complete destruction of everything. And I think that's I don't know why we would be loyal to that. Maybe because we just, like it's something about.
Maria, can you mute yourself? You're taking over the screen.
Oh, let me see. Do I see her? I don't see her. Oh, here. So the hidden benefit is the distraction. I think it has something to do with like not wanting to continue, like not wanting to be responsible with what came before and what I started, and not wanting to continue what I was doing in the past. Kind of like just let go of it. Kind of like being tired of also like, because also in the past it seems like a lot what I was doing was according to the expectations of those that came before. And so this destruction here is somehow like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that anymore. And it doesn't mean that I know what else I would like to do. I just don't want to do that. It's interesting because I don't have a plan, and it doesn't feel like, okay, if I destroy this, there will be freedom. It's just, there is a belief that if I let this desert like swallow me, then I don't have to deal with anything. And so there's definitely comfort in like, well, it was just like it was too big. It was too difficult. There's interesting contrast between this one and the river, right? Because the river will carry you if you allow it. But if you allow this, it will swallow you and burn you to ashes, and you completely, like everything that you are, or all the, not just the expectations of others, but also their hopes of the continuation of life, all of that will be destroyed. So in a way, you just say like, I'm giving up and screw it all, and that's it. I'm out of here. I'm not participating. Like, that's it. I'm done. Like, I actually, so interestingly, you said like, yeah, you would want to jump into water. I don't. I actually want to completely destroy everything. The whole reality, the whole life. And okay, the other thing is like, what do I get from that is I get out of here. I believe that. So it's not really freedom to be here, but it's more getting out of here. But then I miss out on all the opportunities of that learning and participating and building something, enjoying, celebrating, feeling the abundance, allowing the abundance and all that. I'm just like, okay, I'm out of here. Like, it was too much and I don't want to deal with it. I don't care where I came from. I don't care what my purpose was. I'm done. I let it swallow me and burn me to ashes. Okay, let's see. So after I was talking about that, I want to see if it has any effect on this here. So here, I'm stepping now on this, which again is the actions to build something in life, to participate, become somebody who is part of a community and contributes, and also lets others contribute and celebrates together. Then there is this self-love. And the self-love also has something to do acknowledging where we came from and acknowledging like this longing or this longing of our ancestors for the continuation of life, and so that whatever they were doing here, so they were doing something similar at a different dry land, at a different time of, or a different piece of that river of life. I mean, like different segment, right? Like in the past. So they were creating communities like that as well. And so their longing was to build it up also for the future generations, to help those who come after, namely their children, especially great children, great-grandchildren, to have an abundant and loving life, right? So they put all their hopes into that. And so when we do something similar here, even though it's a different segment, is in the future, we can build upon those experiences and upon those the riches, the know-how, and also, you know, with their blessing, like we have now the know-how from them, and also we acknowledge their blessings and we take them on, and so we look at them lovingly and we appreciate what we have gotten. So all that what they had to go through gave us some riches in experiences and know-how, like wisdom and tools and so on. And so by loving ourselves, I mean, like we love ourselves by also saying yes to them, what they had to go through, and yes to their longing for us to have a better life. We are saying yes to that, and I'm even bowing to them. And now I'm bowing also to those who gave their lives, really struggling to deal with life and what life was bringing. They gave it all. They gave their lives. So I'm acknowledging them as well. And I see that that's the struggle that created a lot of fears. And if I will have the fears now, I will remember to give them back where they belong, which is the fears belong to those who are in the last moments of survival. really like resisting, really not trusting life. And so I will honor them and bow to them and tell them, please, bless me so that I can trust more and I can let life guide me and also hold me, carry me, so that I don't have to go out in panic, resisting what life has to offer, the way it happened to you. So I'm bowing to them. Let's see. It's kind of strange because the desert wants to go over there as well. I don't know why. The desert goes here as well. So now it's sand mixing with the water. So hot sand mixing with the water. It's becoming a little, like the image is like the steam comes out now. Oh, okay. So the steam comes out, so it goes into the air and it surrounds us. And by doing that, it's also kind of like holding us lovingly. So is the steam, or is these souls that are watching us, and they are supportive, watching us with love, watching what we are creating, watching our enjoyment, and they are blessing us and holding kind of, it's a soft, you know, like the steam kind of like envelopes you, but it also, it's like soft, like a soft blanket enveloping us. So in a way, they transition to that. Ancestors who are now, instead of being in this state where they are still like caught in the trauma, kicking and like, no, and scary, instead of that, they transitioned where now they're able to watch us, and also those who came before. They're connected now to both. And I actually want to tell us that one, which was the benefit, this one was the benefit, right? It's scarcity.
Yes.
Yeah, they said that that's a good thing. So it's kind of like saying, you know, like having this, like being down off the mountain and participating fully in what the society is doing, it's very good. But also sometimes going up on the mountain where the air is scarce, like the oxygen is scarce and food is scarce and water is scarce and abundance or diversity is scarce. It also it's important in order to connect also to those resources. And they were also like around, right? So there's it's almost like they're cheerleaders. They're our support. They probably, now that they transitions, there's a lot of creativity as well, and a lot of wishing us to do well. So whenever we do this, we can connect to those resources, and to all those ideas that may not have been manifested yet. So they are still energetically holding that as like cheerleaders, and they want to give us those gifts if we want to connect to that. So this one actually seems like a good thing, and it's all right to embrace it. But it's also good to embrace that, like, we can have it all, we can have both. So it's just becoming aware about which period is the building period, like building the foundation, building the house until it's ready for us to be able to move around freely, or maybe even decorate and take it easy. And also these times, taking time to be more just connected to the spirit is also very important. And then allowing those blessings, allowing the inspiration, allowing the support when we do that. I think that's about it. I think that's the alignment here today. Let me see one more time. Yeah, they are not here anymore. They are around, they transitioned. And these are integrated in our hearts, so they are part of us. And all the know-how that they have, it's part of our DNA. It's embodied in us. So this actually goes underneath. And then sometimes we are here. And sometimes we are here. And then we go in the river again and come to the new land again and come here, build something here again. And then we jump and it goes faster. And if it's too fast and we resist it, we drown. If it's not, it will carry us to the new shore again. And we build something new there again. And so this is kind of that movement. Okay. I will leave it here. I feel like hitting the ball one time. And one time also for these energies, to acknowledge them, respect them, allow them, appreciate them, and let them contribute in their way. Okay, I'm back. Just want to remind you, like the words, and especially also my words, they're not as important as the whole like context and the image, like the bigger picture. the words are sometimes not good enough, especially I'm not so good with the words. So try to like perceive the words between the lines that I'm using. I don't see you here. Okay, so now if anyone would like to contribute with what you have seen and what you learned and what showed up for you, I would appreciate that. Anyone wants to go first? Let's see.
I do.
Christine. Hello. Is it Christine? Someone else?
It's Rita.
Oh, Rita. Okay. Go ahead, Rita. What did you get?
Okay, this was really freaky because conversation with somebody about being stuck in the river, and I felt like I was 2 years old and I was flying
Oh, you're breaking.
down this river.
Can you move somewhere because the connection is breaking? Rita, can you please move
And
somewhere?
then we're doing.
I can't hear you. You're breaking.
Is
Can
it
you
better?
move? Try. Can you repeat it? We didn't really hear it.
Oh well. So Saturday I had this vision of me as a 2-year-old on the river. Now my brother treated me like one of those Barbie dolls that you could take apart and put back together with other things. So I'm assuming that my terror of Alum Rock Park is that my brother put me in the river and let me sail down the river.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really, really frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And that came up Saturday, and then the drowning comes up again in this constellation.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
mm-hmm.
yeah, and the connection between right now, I'm really struggling with allowing myself to surrender to the river and not struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what everything about this business is, about every situation in my life right now. And so it seems really well.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have been thrown in the river very early on. Yeah, you've been thrown into the river very early on. So I think it would be good for you to look at the 2-year-old, that got freaked out, and have a conversation with the 2-year-old. And then reassure them that now you are taking over, so they don't need to feel freaked out by the flow. So yeah,
Okay.
that will be your homework.
Thank you.
Yeah, contact them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can also contact me if you would like to focus on that a little bit and do a little work, little conversation with the 2-year-old. You know, my mom actually almost drowned when she was 3 years old in the river too, and she saw a saint. I think she saw Maria, Jesus's mother. So Mother Maria showed up for her, and then she was rescued. So it's interesting. Yeah. Well, thank you. Who would like to go next? Stina, are you ready?
Yeah. For me, I don't have what I recall or what I know of. I don't have any drowning that I know of that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
but it spoke very strongly to me, and just by, I think for me, the take up of this is letting go of control and stop resisting. Because I think the ending of this constellation was even more powerful for me, especially by the end when you went with the river up to the shore, with the river, not resisting. Because when resisting, there was, drowning and then back. So by not resisting and go with the flow and letting go of control, that's what's connecting to me. And then off on the shore again, almost like take advantage of the flow rather to move with the flow. That's what's most powerful for me. Because I'm very connected to water. So I don't know how. If you know what I mean. That's not consciously what I know of.
Yes.
So maybe I contributed to this drowning thing but not on a conscious level.
Yeah. Well, it was very symbolic,
Yeah.
And
But
we are very connected with water. Yeah, beautiful.
So, yeah.
So, how about the survival fears, like the fears that do you feel like you can leave them with the survival struggle? Like, do you feel like you can leave the fears behind?
I think that's what I mean, that's to see from this constellation, I think.
Okay.
Put it that way.
Yeah. Good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Who would like to go next? Is it Maya? Maya, did you want to speak?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Klara. I don't know, this constellation, I felt rather good watching you for a while. And then all of a sudden, somewhere in the middle, my mood became very dark, more like, I don't know, some kind of frustration just poured out of me. Like, I won't have this anymore, whatever this thing is, or this life is, or I'm like forever stuck with whatnot, the relationships, money, always some kind of crisis, and this is horrible. I'm not having this anymore. Just like somehow, I don't know, just somehow like the dam opened. It just flooded out of me, and then I was like fine. I was fine again. So that was kind of a interesting ride there. So
wow, you usually fall asleep. This time you didn't.
No, I didn't.
You were more aware this time about your resistance, so you're getting stronger. That's really
I almost fell asleep before the constellation. I was talking to Rita and I said, this time I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna keep my eyes open. However, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it till the end, and I did. So
do you remember?
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
Do you remember which markers I was standing on when you felt that resistance and frustration?
I don't know. I think it was somewhere. I don't know, like in the middle of everything. Just all of a sudden, like, I can't take it anymore. And it lasted for I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes or something, and then I was fine.
Okay. Great.
I don't know, maybe something you said, or I don't really, I have no idea what triggered it.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, dear. Thank you.
Sure.
Who would like to go next? I see Ostara already. Ostara, you were here. It's your first time. How did you like that? I love Ostara and her son, you guys. You should check out their lives. They're so fun and so wise. So they will be on the telesummit coming up. Yeah.
Hi. I didn't get to see all of it because we had a client consult that we had to leave the thing for, but it was really interesting in watching you, and my mind was just busy thinking about what you were doing and the things that you were saying. It was really, really incredible.
So you were not here for the setup, right? Like when we came up with the topic, and it was all about finance, finance, and resistance to abundance, and doing the things, investing money in ways where it grows, and not spending it, and yeah.
Yeah, I was there when you were talking about the drowning and the water, and I was thinking about that, and that really hits a lot of people. I felt it. I felt it from myself.
Interesting, huh?
I'm at a place to where I've started investing in myself. Like I'm ready to throw money at a bunch of different coaches, here.
Yes.
Get me to where I want to go, but I've got to be wise about that.
Yep. Yeah, true. Yeah.
But that's an incredible place, an incredible feeling to have, because I didn't even want to do that before. So it's a nice place to be.
Yeah. Well, I hope it helps the discernment and with more flow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, my dear. Okay, Tony, are you ready?
Yeah. This was really, really moving for me because my granddad, he drowned in a river, and he was trading, going from one side of the river to the other, buying and selling stuff. And according to what my grandmother told me, he wasn't really, really good with money, and he was always in and out of jobs. He was a little bit of a hustler, and he drowned on his 40th birthday. And when he did so, my mum was, I think, 7 years old. And her life and my grandmother's life changed completely from getting by to being really, 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 really poor. I mean, really hard done by. So I've got a phobic fear of water.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, I was really, really, when you're on the marker speaking about drowning, about struggling in the river, especially, it really, really touched me. I really felt a great deal of grief, sadness, desperation, helplessness. And that really kind of like put me in a trance for about 15 minutes. So in the middle part, what you did thereafter wasn't really, I really wasn't really aware of what was going on. I was just really connected to that feeling of grief and that feeling of a great deal of struggle and a great deal of helplessness. And strangely, one of my brothers is named after my granddad, and he's always in financial trouble. Even though he makes a lot of money, but he kind of blows it. So there's something symbolic about
those
that.
loyalties. Yeah, amazing.
There's something symbolic about that when you're talking about, us being loyal to the departed ancestors in our lineage who, it is as if like if we kind of didn't struggle, we would be abandoning them, or we wouldn't be acknowledging their sacrifices for us. So that really struck me. And I think also at the end, what Stina was saying, the allowing ourselves to flow with the river, letting it bring us back to shore, building something, and then allowing us to flow, that also really struck me. I'm much more of a kind of, if I want something, do it. And if I have to struggle, so be it. I'll struggle, I'll grind it out, but I'll get where I want to go. And I don't really allow the flow to help me. So there are many, many lessons for me in the constellation.
Yeah, allow the flow. Allow the river of life to take you to the next abundant shore. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah, well, this is a big one for you to really integrate. So just take time for that. It's kind of amazing that you showed up for this one, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, glad to have. Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.
Amber, are you ready?
Okay. Hi. Yeah. Yeah. I felt when you were in the river bit and talking. Well, that was the bit where I was most sleepy, and I felt the most resistance. And so, the like when you were going through the struggling, and it's the the fear is the resistance. I could feel it in my body. So that was quite strong. And like what Tony was saying, I also have the habit of like, okay, well, if I want something, I'll work hard, I'll get there, and I don't really trust in the flow in general. Yeah, so I make myself work harder than I need to. I think. Yeah.
And there was room for the hard work. Like once we are on the new shore, like, okay, now focus, build it, like until it's done, you know, but then also celebrate and let go and then jump into the river again. It's like there's definitely room for hard work as well. But when it's too hard, I think that's like when it's too hard and panicky and the fears are present, I think that's probably the sign that we are resisting, and it's about like that's in the river, not on the land. So let go during those times. I think that's the sign to watch for, and just let the flow happen. And then when you are on with your 2 feet again on the land, then do the hard focused work. Don't let go until it's done.
Right.
Yeah,
recognizing, I guess, when I'm on land and then when I'm in the river. And so that was the main takeaway for me.
Yeah. So the difference was that there was abundance around you on the land. There was celebration. There were other people contributing, you know. So in the river, we were alone. There was no one. Yeah. So when we feel alone, I think that was another sign. This is so good what you are saying, because now I'm connecting it. When we were in the river and panicking and kicking and giving it all, and having all those fears and resistance coming up, it's different. There's the alone, like being alone also, where on the land, others are building with us. And we are just contributing our part. We don't have to do everything because there are others doing their parts too.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, Sharon is here. When did you come in? Did you get to see it?
Sorry, I was late, but it's so fortunate that I checked in because it's so perfect for me. Yesterday's interaction, and so I obviously checked in just in time to remind myself of what I want to do after lunch.
Oh my gosh!
Which is watch the replay. But the one thing that is interesting is yesterday I mentioned that I knew that I carried a lot of fear from my father, but I didn't know why. And my father had a near drowning experience when he was a teenager. He fell through the ice. He used to do a lot of ice fishing, and he fell through the ice and he couldn't find his way back, but somehow he managed to let the river carry him and he came back to the opening of the ice, and somehow miraculously he managed to pull himself out.
Wow.
But then a few years later, so he would have been mid to late 20s, and he couldn't swim. Mid to late 20s, he was out with a friend of his, and this time it was summer, so they were in a boat, but they each had on hip waders, like those heavy, like the rubber boots that come up over to your waist. They have suspenders on them, and his friend fell out of the boat, and my father basically had to watch his friend drown because he tried the oar, but he couldn't, and he couldn't, my father couldn't swim, so there was nothing he could do to rescue this friend. And the friend of the reason I mentioned about the boots is because the friend's boots filled with water, and so that was such a weight that he went under. And so I've never before connected the two of like my father miraculously escaping his fall in the water and then having to watch, and I'm sure had a fear of drowning at that point, and then having to watch his friend actually drown.
Yes. So I would actually like the friend, if since we mentioned him, if he is here with us, to allow the transition and
Right.
look at us friendly, and we want to acknowledge him and really like acknowledge the love and that we see his accident and his suffering, and we would like him to watch us friendly from that perspective and enjoy
Right.
yeah
Thank you.
what we are building. Yeah, so like this is like we become so thankful, right, for what we have.
Right. Right.
Like these kind of experiences of these kind of people remind us how fortunate we are to do something that is still available to us. And so yeah, just want to acknowledge him and love him. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, anyone else? Did I skip anyone? Did Stella speak yet? Stella, did you speak?
No.
You didn't speak. How come? It's unusual.
This was interesting. You started before we even started. You said something about the great grandparents had a lot to do with the financial situation, and I right away started to think about my first constellation with you and my ancestors and Nantucket Island, and I can't save this sinking ship. So that was really strong with me from the beginning.
Ship, yeah. Oh my God.
And this all this suffering and when I think about it, so I think I should go back. I've already like rewatched that, but I think I need to go back and rewatch that again because that was
a whole
so.
ship of people, you guys.
Yeah, it was like, and I could feel that again. So when that came up, it was just like, yeah, here we go again with this drowning, and I'm still trying to save them. And even though I even written on my mirror, I can't save the sinking ship. It's still there, but I'm still trying to save them. So that was good, and sort of a little like heart-wrenching and heavy. I yawned a lot through this whole thing, but that Stella, what about letting go and just allow them to go? They have allowed me to allow them to go, but I am still holding on. I could just feel that. So that was powerful.
It will keep you in that struggle, in the survival struggle.
Yes.
Kicking in one spot.
Yes. And this is like, and I have been thinking a lot lately about relaxing into just this situation, just relax. And it's like I can't. So yeah, so I'm going to rewatch that. I remember it was a long one. But then also it was this thing about the hidden benefits of scarcity, and I thought that was interesting because for me what I heard was like the old ideas about scarcity and spirituality and the old paradigm of to be able to reach this, you've got to suffer, you've got to like be without oxygen, you've got to sit in a cave and meditate for 3 months without food and come out as a skeleton. That's how you reach it. That's the only way. And I was just like, no, I don't want that anymore. That's old stuff. Thank you very much, but no. I want that. I have that here, and it's okay to have that here, and I do not have to suffer to be able to have that kind of intense spiritual connection and uplifting, which I have, as you know, we've done constellations with that too. So the lifting, I have that, but in some way I just said I'm still in the old paradigm, even though I have it. So,
but see, the thing is like, that was the connection to those that transition and then they are above and they have all
Yeah.
the resources.
Yes.
You know, so it's kind of like interesting idea that that's the old paradigm. It didn't show up like that. It really showed up as beneficial, and really just to acknowledge it. It's not like you have to go into more drought or
No, but I was just I'm just
more
saying that this is
allowing.
what came to me with this whole thing. That's like, oh, okay, Stella, you can just let go of that. You don't need that anymore. But I could see that my idea of the benefit of scarcity was, part of it was still hanging on to this old paradigm. It's like, Stella, you can let go of that. It's not necessary anymore. So for me, it was a message to me about what I still have there, and like, and this whole the Buddhism gray thing, and you know, the Tibetan like Milarepa sitting in his cave, and these are things that I was exposed to when I was a very small child. So it has been with me, like, you know, I started meditating in the Buddhist way when I was 12. I had all these kinds of books in my mother's shelf ever since I was a small child. So I've been like with this, and it was like, Stella, let go of the cave. You don't have to sit without the oxygen high up in the Tibetan, you know, in the Himalayas.
Yeah,
because
well,
the Tibetans,
the thing is, we are in the cave already, like all of us, because we are getting very spiritual. It's just about allowing the abundance also from the spirit now.
It's
anyways, not it's to like, put yourself into more scarcity, okay?
No,
don't.
That's like that's out. But it was interesting with the oxygen thing, because the Tibetans, they are the only people in the world that cannot live on a lower altitude without getting sick, because their whole bloodstream is conditioned to less oxygen than us. So it was just so interesting, because it really spoke to me, this whole thing about, you know, go out here with less oxygen. Yeah, sure, I've been in the Himalayas, I know.
yeah
I traveled there, so it's like, oh yeah, Stella, you can let go. So yeah, it was very interesting. Thank you very much.
Wow. I was watching these people, some islanders, I don't remember who they were. They actually live, they spend a lot of time underwater, so their whole, like, they can live without oxygen. Their lungs are much bigger, and they can live without oxygen much longer than us. Like, they go for whatever, I don't know, like 7 minutes or something like that.
Shouldn't be possible, but so it was like, it went into places where young places for me. So I'm going to rewatch this again. So I feel like I should spend like a week just rewatching all their old ones.
It's funny. Well, you know what? Very often you get results doing that. Very often you get results doing that. So that sometimes
you are breaking up, Klara.
Oh, I was saying that very often you get results when you rewatch. So you are really cool about that. Okay, so I think everyone spoke.
I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vera. There you
That's
are.
okay.
Sorry, dear.
That's okay. First of all, I have to say that well, I don't want to tell you what you should do, but I'd love it if you just trusted what you get, because it's enormously perfect. What comes through you is just right on. So, you know, it's a beautiful cooperation. And it was nice when I brought the spirit in, that you put different words to it, like forces behind the flow. And that is, I think, very important, because that's where we get caught up, where we don't realize what moves the markets, you know, you invest something and it's not like a tree that you can water. It moves, money moves, and it's unpredictable, and it's now getting quite wild. So it's really difficult to do. The ancestors had a message to me about wants and needs, and they were a little ticked off that what we think we need is just a little too much, you know, it's just sort of not sustainable. And I kind of got that technology really is making things on one hand more interesting. On another, it's depleting a lot of our resources and our gifts and all that. But so it's upsetting nature a bit. So I got that. So freedom to me is no debt. This is sort of, there's a lot of heaviness once you owe money to someone and they have you by the neck. So that's something I adopted after the financial crisis. I thought, okay, I'm never going to owe anyone anything. So abundance is flow, and I think that's where the lesson comes in trusting. Because when we hang on to the money, we don't trust. We don't trust that we'll get what we need. And so the stronger this connection to the spirit, the easier it is to surrender. We know that we have a better chance of survival in the water if we just don't kick and scream, when we just let go and trust that the water will be in there. So the self-love is also about direction in life. And sometimes it's sort of like to go out this way or that way. So if we don't come out of, when we don't see the map from higher, the line of awakening that we all have been programmed with to go higher on the mountains and see where things are kind of going, that allows us to have a bigger picture and see invisible forces. And that's what helps us to make better decisions. So I thought that was kind of cool. But when you hit that underlying program, that brought back a lot of memories. I became a mental health coach because of my all different issues. And I've learned that the balance between adrenals and endocrine system and the kidney is where it was at. We feel survival, yeah, and it is from brain stem, so it's the program that it's in there. So feeling like a fish out of water, and 90% of people that have health issues would have adrenal or would have the kidney collecting issues. Well, because they feel, the survival, that's just a program and it's kind of running. And so I don't think you can ever get rid of it. You just have to live in peace with it. And when you get to the point where you are sort of willing to transform in any moment to something else and let it all burn, or give up struggling in the water, that's when we sort of are able to play in that water. So that was kind of cool. And I thought, oh, gee, they tell us that from evolution point, we came from water and we are afraid of water. So it doesn't, there's always a contradiction, right? Living in the cave or being deprived of oxygen and swimming in the water and being able to hold the breath and being able to live. Go away. So all the survival stuff was in there. The ancestral karma, it lives in kidneys. That's where the water is. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I loved it. It's a keeper. It definitely touched such a deep core on so many levels. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See, like when I do the constellations, like I really don't know where they guide me. Like while I'm in the process, I was like, how is this going to align and organize? But I allow it, and then the pictures organize on its own. And I think that that's what's really so helpful about constellations. Like I step out, and you step out, obviously, like either you fall asleep or you allow me to go through that and you watch it, you participate. And then all these pictures organize, and because it's also an image, it organizes our brain. And so now it helps us to understand what is coming from where. And if we are able to leave it there, like leaving the drowning image of the person that is drowning, leaving the stress, the survival, the kicking, the resistance, all the fears that come with that, all the drowning in bills, drowning in responsibilities, if we can leave it with them and ask them for the blessing, what we have instead then, what becomes the image, the inner image, instead of the drowning, we let them transition, and what's left is the peace and trust and flow and focus on what's in front of us, and also like allowing celebration. And I know that's also very important for abundance. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I noticed that one. Like, we often don't celebrate our milestones and our successes, and the contribution of others into our success. And so I think that's a very important image to have and adopt and remember as well. So with that, I would like to complete today's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up and all your amazing contribution. And again, I want to acknowledge, it's just amazing how the drowning showed up today and how many of us were connected to that. And for that, I want to thank you, because that means that we are shifting it for the collective. Like, many of us came together. Some of us are new, like for the first time. And so that really means that we got together as light workers and healers of the collective. And I want to appreciate you for that, for the collective. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you.